What's up, Vetters? Patrick here with Vetted. Today, we are talking about this.
It's so hard to try to explain how strange this was, but I was in some weird corridor that looked like a building but was odd. Very strange. And I was encountering these beings. Like, there was communication going on, and I was really freaked out, and they were f***ing with me to lighten me up because I was freaked out. They're like, ah.
All right, Vetters, please hit the like button. That really helps out the videos. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Y'all, I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. All right, so what is this all about? Well, the internet thinks that Joe Rogan was abducted by aliens. Why? Well, because he recently had Brett Weinstein on his podcast, and at the very opening set of the podcast, literally within the first few seconds, he immediately starts to tell this story that, he had this crazy dream, and it was so different from any dream he's ever had. It felt so real, and he's talking about these beings and, talking to him. He's in some weird, area that doesn't look like anything he's been in, and people think he's describing an abduction experience, right? He even talks about some like weird, pool or something with like these crocodile type creatures. I mean, water was involved, right? And he even said like the beings were sort of like taunting him a little bit, but at the same time trying to tell him, just calm down. There's nothing to be scared about here. It was just a very unusual sort of circumstance and dreams. And I've had lifelike dreams myself, even so much that like I'm talking in my sleep. My wife has had to wake me up like, dude, what's going on? I'm like, geez, you just interrupted me. I was winning the New York Marathon. Like I have dreams that they feel like real life to me. I haven't had any dreams where I feel like I got abducted, but who knows?
I was telling you before we get started that I had the most bizarre dream I've ever had in my life last night. The most realistic and most bizarre dream. And it's so hard to try to explain how strange this was. But I was in some weird corridor that looked like a building but was odd. Very strange. And I was encountering these beings that looked like people but very different. They were very thin, and they were slightly on the tall side. And they had big heads, like larger than normal, with larger than normal eyes. But they looked like people. And they were playful, and they were scaring me. They scared me, and then they joked around, like we were just joking around. It was the most realistic dream I've ever had in my life. And I woke up, and I could not go back. I had to stay up. I got up at 3:30 in the morning, and I just went to the gym, and I worked out for a couple hours. And I was like, what the fuck was that? But it was very bizarre in that there was communication going on. It was like, God, I want to read into this because I know it's just a dream, but it was like, get comfortable with this.
You should read into it because it's a dream. So it doesn't make it right, but your subconscious is trying to tell you about something, and the fact that it felt very, very important means your subconscious thinks it's very, very important.
I woke up. I mean, I was tired, man. When I went to bed, I was tired. I was falling asleep watching TV. I went to bed at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, like beat down. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get some sleep. Because I had a long week, a lot of activities, workouts, this, that, the other. Tired. 3:30 in the morning, after whatever this was, woke me up so much that I just laid in bed for like another hour. And I was like, there is no way I'm going to sleep. I'm up forever. And then I just went and worked out. I worked out, and I was hoping I would be exhausted after I worked out and I'd be able to relax. But it was like a couple hours after that I laid down and I took a nap for an hour before I came here.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Did you see a video, I think it was yesterday, maybe it was the day before, of some Chinese robots that seemed to be across on our side of the uncanny valley, that they walk with a gait that feels very human. Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that. Is that the latest?
I don't know. I've seen it a few times in the last couple of days. It sort of sounded to me like your dream might have been responsive.
All right, so this story is fascinating, right, that Joe is telling so far. And there's more to the clip, so stay with me. But do you think, just so far of what you heard, that does this sound like Joe Rogan was abducted by aliens here? I mean, clearly he had what I would deem just, this lucid dream, right? That just felt like reality. And Brett at the end there was talking about maybe, this robot video that he saw that's been going around, this kind of viral, and maybe he just was influenced by that. But then Joe's like, no, I haven't seen that, But then at the same time, you might have forgotten it, right? And they don't really show the video, but I went and looked for this video that Brett's talking about, and, this may be it. We're all gonna die, y'all. That's it. It's over, right? I mean, robots are coming. This is iRobot just waiting to happen here.
There is a robot in this formation that does not belong. Identify it.
One of us.
And it gets worse, right? Just to sidetrack for a moment here. There's another video of this same robot where they kind of add a little more to it, like muscles and this and, fake muscles and stuff. But, it's honestly a little alarming, but exciting. It's like, I don't know. Take a look. Like I said, the end is near, right? I mean, if you're walking down the street and you turn a corner and you see Arnold Schwarzenegger walking towards you with a black leather biker jacket and some Ray-Bans, it's done. Right? We're over, y'all. It's like AI is scary, but so are robots. And then let's put those together. We're literally creating something that could take us over if it wants to at some point. No, we'll just code in some stuff that'll make sure it doesn't do that. Yeah. How many times have things in your house that are electronic gone haywire? Yeah, all of them. So what happens when a robot goes haywire, or an army of them? Anyway, we're not here to talk about the robot takeover that's coming soon. We're here to talk about, did Joe Rogan get abducted, right? And if you remember, earlier in the video, I said that Joe was talking about this water was a big part of it, and this sort of these crocodile things in the water, take a look.
These things felt very organic. Whatever this was, it felt like living organic beings that were like us. There was also a water element. It was hard to understand what the water element of it was, but there was some sort of an indication that there was water and that there was a protection from you going out into the water. But if you did go into the water, there's a bunch of predators in the water. But they weren't it wasn't like sharks. It was reptile, like crocodile type things that were in the water, and that they had been feeding them and keeping them calm and keeping them away. But whatever these beings were in my dream, they were like what humans could eventually be. That's what it felt like. If it didn't feel like a person, but I don't feel like a monkey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like that. It was very, very realistic. There was communication going on. And I was really freaked out, and they were fucking with me to lighten me up because I was freaked out. They're like, ah. And then they were like this, like, calm down, like, relax. It was so realistic. It was so realistic that when it was over, I wasn't sure what happened. Like, it wasn't like, whoa, what a fucked up dream. It was like, that was different. That was a different one.
Again, this is a fascinating story that Joe told. And, you know, Brett's reaction is also like, you know, interesting as well, because he's taking it very seriously. Because when you have such a lucid dream like that, it is hard to distinguish from a memory you had, right? Because it feels so lifelike. I mean, if we live our mind, you know, if we live our life in our mind and you have a dream in your mind, it's just like, what's the difference? You know, I don't know. And when you try to understand the mind with the mind, that's a mind fuck. Pardon my French. Je ne sais pas parler français, but, you know, that's just a crazy thing to think about. And it's always, you know, is so hard to understand, what we don't understand. And again, we're trying to use the same tool to understand the tool, right? It's like, I don't know if there's anything like that, right? But what else do we have, right? Like, what else are we supposed to use besides our mind? Well, we'll create AI and that can help us do that. Yeah. And then that takes over. But regardless, anyway, you know, what do y'all think? Was Joe Rogan abducted by aliens? And more importantly, I haven't seen anyone asking these questions. Has Joe had an MRI or an X-ray or something, right? What if they added something to Joe or took something away, right? They could have put a tracker on him. He could have been probed. He could have, all kinds of different things could have happened here, right? And they say if you've been abducted once, well, you might get abducted again. All right, betters, before we go, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sister channel, All Things Visible and Invisible. I recently did an interview on there with the host, Sean. Great guy. We're going to be working together a lot more and collaborating. I'm going to try to get Sean on the channel as well and do an interview. We had a great time. It's a totally different channel than mine. They cover a lot more topics than I do, but they go deep. The research is amazing. The production's amazing. The host, Sean, and how he presents it's phenomenal. So please go hit that subscribe button for them and the like button and check out my interview with them. They deserve way more. And again, the channel just started, but they deserve way more. Wait till you see what kind of stuff they're putting out, right? The content's amazing, and it is going to grow. It's going to be a very big channel. So get in now, y'all. So again, sister channel of Vetted. Very excited to all be working together, collaborating, and we got a lot more things planned coming up very soon, working together. So very excited about that. But, you know, let's show some love, Vetters, and tell them Vetted sent you. All right, y'all. Again, links in the description. Let me know what you think. Did Joe Rogan get abducted by aliens? And will he get abducted again? Maybe live on the podcast. We'll see you on the next one, y'all. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.
Hi, my name is Greg Watson. I'm 70 years old and I live in Holly, Michigan. I have put a video out on the internet that I took this past July 4th, early in the morning. And it was to the northeast at about a 45-degree angle, and it was out in space. It was not in our atmosphere. The video is a minute and 45 seconds long, but really, what you want to see is in the last 45 seconds. I didn't want to edit the video, take that first minute out. I didn't want to touch it, to see it as it is. But also, I've seen two other UAP events in my life. The second one was, or one of them was like a meteor, except that there was no flame except for the very back part of it. And my buddy and I watched it for close to 20 minutes in a telescope, and then it just disappeared. It just disappeared. And when I was moving out to the West Coast in 1976 in March, we were going across the New Mexico desert on I-10. It was about 65 degrees. And my buddy and I, we saw a portal. I mean, a real portal. This sucker, it looked like somebody had, like, you know how you step on a barbed wire fence to get through it? You step on the bottom and pull up above. Well, it looked like somebody had taken the fabric of our universe, or just, I mean, and pulled it up like that to where it looked like an eye. And it was about 6 feet high by 8 feet wide. And when we went to look at it, it had frequencies going through it. It was a white background with frequencies going through it side to side. And then my buddy and I, we looked around, and you could see the desert all around it. Now, this was only about 18 feet off the freeway on I-10 going west, about 50 miles past Area 51 area. And, or Area 52, whatever it's called. Anyway, there was nothing around it, to the sides, the bottom, whatever. It was just there. And my buddy and I looked at each other, and we got the hell out of there. And we were not on drugs. We didn't have any, or we would have taken them.